my name is Peyton, and today I'm teaching you how to sew the viral alphabet banner. You'll need my alphabet letter printout, pinking shears, some seam rippers, and you'll also need some twill ribbon, which will be shown here, and of course a sewing machine. Print your letters and cut a small square around each letter you'll be using for your banner, and do the same for each piece of fabric that you'll be using. You want it to be just a little bit bigger than the letter printout, and then you'll want to place the bottom fabric right side down, which would be the printed side, and then you'll want to place your batting on top of that, and then place your top fabric right side up, which would be the printed side facing up, and then your letter on top of that. Now that we have that set up, we're going to be ready to sew. You're going to sew on the outer edge of the paper, tracing the letter with your sewing machine. Remember to backstitch a couple times at the beginning and then backstitch again at the end so that your stitches stay nice and tight through wear and tear. Congratulations, now that you've stitched your letter, you are ready to remove the paper. You can just tear the paper around the edges. If there are any difficult spots to remove the paper, you can get a little spray bottle of water and spray the paper to soften it, and then just gently rub it off. Here I'm just trimming my excess thread pieces with some scissors and then tweezers, and you can do that at the beginning or at the end, it doesn't matter, but I always do it here before I start trimming the edges. We are one step closer to completing our banner. You're going to grab your pinking shears and trim around each letter for a decorative finish around the edge. You can cut as close or as far away from the stitches as you'd like. I like to cut pretty close to the stitches so that the letter is not super floppy. It gives it just a little bit more of a stiff letter look once you get finished. Cutting the middle part out of letters can be kind of tricky, but I did find that if I cut at an X in the middle and then used my pinking shears to trim, that made it way easier. Here I do struggle a little bit because I couldn't get my scissors to cut all the way through the fabric. Anyway, like I said, the X worked really well, so you want to try that first. And you shouldn't have any trouble, but if not, just play with it a little bit. Sewing isn't always the easiest, but it is a rewarding project. Now that our letter is complete, it's time to make it into a banner. So if you want to hang the letters, you want to cut a 2 to 3 inch piece of twill ribbon and sew it onto the back of the letter, sewing directly over the original stitches that you placed when you were tacking the fabric down. I'm actually skipping using the twill ribbon, and I'm using just an extra piece of fabric that I had once I trimmed my letter, and I'm going to trim that nice and neat with pinking shears and then sew that to the back of my letter just so that it looks a little bit more put together and formal. Congratulations, you have finished your alphabet banner with me. Now you can feed your 2 to 3 inch piece of twill through the letter so that you can hang it into a banner. Once again, I hope you enjoyed my video. If you're homemaking and hand making, please follow along. I make new videos every week. Love you guys. I also forgot to add, my son reminded me I'm recording currently and he's sitting with me, but he wanted you guys to be reminded to like and subscribe to our page.